HBCU Connect. My name is Christy Turner. I'm a junior political science major from Cartersville, Georgia, and I will be attending Coppin State University in the fall. I chose to attend an HBCU as I was in search of a completely new experience and a new environment. I was wanting to learn more about my history and my people. As you know, growing up in a predominantly white area, I was not taught much about my history or African American history in general. Even while being in AP classes and honors courses, the history was not taught in its entirety. And being in AP and honors classes, I was also usually the only person of color in the room during my middle school and high school experience. So with that came great difficulty, especially following the 2016 presidential election, as the climate kind of shifted when people really, disregarded any consideration of how their fellow friends, maybe not even friends, but minorities felt based on President Trump's words and the actions and words that they themselves would, display. I found it hard, to cope with, as a lot of the people that I thought were my friends were saying these things, or, things that I would never have thought of them to say. But with the whole disregard of, wanting to actually learn history, the true history of America and how African Americans played a role in it, and, the impact that it made on America's economic structure that we have today, and just a lot of the brutality and mistreatment that went along with that growth of an economy. I wanted to be around individuals who were like-minded like me, who were striving for excellence, but also were able to share my experience as a minority in this country. By choosing to attend an HBCU, I knew that I would be taught my history and the Black experience in an entirety, and it would be used to relate to real life experiences that we face today. And I was just looking for that new perspective, new environment to help me grow as an individual, because I didn't have that growing up. I wasn't taught, the history and its full truth or in full detail, and being able to be in an environment where we could discuss this history and, Black excellence in an environment of safety where, no one is really going to backlash at you. Everyone's going to be pretty much open-minded and willing to listen to you. And that was the primary thing that I wanted to, gain. So that's why I chose to attend an HBCU, along with wanting to gain more confidence as I was learning about all of these Black figures that I had never had any knowledge of. Just seeing all of the greatness that is within the African American community despite all of the hardships that we have been through. Like I said, I am a political science major, and my career aspirations consist of going to law school, becoming a lawyer, and eventually a policy analyst, as I want to have a major influence in education reform. Education reform is very near and dear to my heart, as I've had an inside look at the discrepancies within the system. As I was in honors and AP courses, but my fellow minorities and people of color were oftentimes left in regular courses with no extra assistance or no extra, motivation to try to push them to strive for higher, to exceed for excellence. And so I feel like by becoming a lawyer and serving as a representation of what you can do as an individual, specifically as a Black woman, that the limits are, endless. You can exceed any expectations as long as you work hard and put your mind to it. And I feel like attending an HBCU has helped me a lot with that, as it takes confidence and determination, and you can find this increase of confidence in resilience and determination by learning the ins and outs of African American history and how it specifically plays a role in American politics and how Black politics and Black politicians have helped, fulfill and improve the democracy that we live in, even though some of the standards are still not met to its full entirety. But by learning about Black politicians, and you can see and relate to the experiences that they had as you go along the same journey that they had to go along. By attending law school, I have in my mind that I want to attend an HBCU law school, as I feel like I would have more of a fulfilling experience, that I would be seen as an individual, and my personal interest in helping me reach my goals will be, shown through the actions of faculty rather than just being a number. So I feel like attending an HBCU has helped me a lot with that professionally by, teaching me the ins and outs of Black history and, the perspective that we as a people have on certain policies and how we view certain actions and forms of suppression that we face in politics itself. And I feel like by learning that in an environment at an HBCU is very, very important rather than learning it on your own. So I'm in a unique situation right now as I'm going to be a transfer student in the fall. I previously attended Savannah State University my freshman, sophomore, and the first portion of my junior year, but I will be finishing up my bachelor's degree at Coppin State University. I feel like moving to Coppin State University will be a good change for me, as I love the city. I had an 8-week internship following my freshman year in Washington, D.C. I interned with the Fund for American Studies and a nonprofit known as Kid Power. So as a political science major, my main focus is, being a representation, as only 2% of lawyers in America are Black women. And by being a representation, it can put me in a light to serve and help others, as education reform is one of my main interests. And I feel like moving to a city such as Baltimore, it would allow me to have more opportunity in, I guess, the career field of wanting to work in education reform and with nonprofit organizations, as they have more opportunities than Savannah does. In Savannah, the divide is still very clear. A lot of the public schools are fulfilled with, minorities or primarily Black students, whereas the private schools are more upscale. They have more resources, more opportunities, but they're also private Christian schools. And with the political climate prior to Mayor Van Johnson, a Savannah State alumni, being elected as mayor, the climate was not very, I guess, diverse in wanting to make a change in the education system in that city. So I feel like if I want to have more opportunities with education reform and in the political realm, by creating diversity and wanting to, show and represent others and show them what Black excellence could be, that I needed to make a change. And in my senior year, I needed to move out to a bigger city. And I feel like Baltimore is the perfect opportunity and area to go to, as they need major education reform, from infrastructure to the ins and outs of their curriculum and additional services such as tutoring and counseling. So I feel like by moving to an area such as Baltimore, that I would have more opportunities professionally. And I'm also a student athlete, and the athletic department works heavily with mentorship programs with local schools, and they have mentorship programs that correlate with the sports. So their after-school programs where teams from Coppin State University will go out and teach the kids these sports, but then also help them with their reading, writing, math, whatever they may need assistance with. And by mentoring them and being a light and saying, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this, or I'm a political science major from Georgia, and I'm here in Baltimore, and I'm looking to go to law school, and I want to do all of these great things, that I can serve as an example to one of these kids that may not have any examples in their life that show in a positive way. And so I feel like that is another way that attending Coppin State University will help me professionally. Savannah State University did help me a lot professionally, but I feel like it had more of a personal influence on me as it taught me confidence, and it taught me resilience. Even though I had already had those, it just emphasized it like times 10. So that is why I chose to attend an HBCU, and how it has helped me professionally and personally. Thank you.